Okay, so now before I get into the actual wiring of the Cadence unit, a couple things. You will need a subwoofer wiring kit of some sort. I use the Bose one. Ordered this also from Amazon.com, similar to what I did with the Cadence unit. I ordered both of them from Amazon, and I think the price runs less than 20 bucks for the wiring. But it includes everything. Includes your power cable that you need. Includes your grounding cable that you need, grounding wire. Also includes some input wires that you need. But a couple things. When you get your Bose kit or whatever wiring kit that you want to use, the biggest question you have to ask is, where do you want to drill through the firewall to get to the battery compartment? So after much research, I found that the best place to tap through the firewall is actually, get the camera up in here, is actually right here next to the truck release cable. There's a nice little soft grommet. Drill through that area and basically push the cable through the firewall from the compartment side out, so into the engine compartment, and then basically got a wire puller that you can buy at Home Depot and pull the wire through. Really was not that hard. The firewall is not that thick, so just tap through there, pretty easy to get to, and then I'll show you what it looks like from the engine compartment side. Okay, so now looking from the engine compartment side in, kind of hard to see down at the darker side to the actual firewall. You have to take my word for it, but when you see it for yourself with a strong flashlight, you'll see exactly where that cable is going to come through. So it'll poke its little head through, and this is a nice little kind of a screw retriever, wire puller, variety of things. But basically just has a claw extender here. See if I can do this for the camera. There we go. And reach in through the firewall, grab the head of the cable, and pull it through. Okay, so once you pull the cable through, you can route the cable to the power cable to the battery any way you like. Well, what I've done is I pulled it through the firewall from the driver's side, and then basically took a drill and tapped small little holes on this side. Make sure you're doing on the correct side of the weather seal, and then just use some cable ties to strap it up out of the way. You don't want loose cables hanging in the engine compartment. And I think I used about, 10 of these things along the way to keep it up and out of the way. And then once you get to the battery side, a couple of things that come with the Bose kit. One is that you've got these terminators, which I have basically tied down and then put some electrical tape around that. And that will in fact bolt to the positive side of the battery terminal. And it also comes with an inline fuse. I think this is a 50 amp fuse, but there are also properly rated fuses on the subwoofer itself. So you want to make sure you put the fuse as close to the power source as possible. And the reason why is if you have any runaway current, the whole wire can heat up and catch on fire. So if you do have that kind of condition, you want the fuse as close to the power source as possible so that it will go ahead and break and cut the power circuit out. But anyway, so 50 amp fuse, and all the stuff that you need, it comes with the Bose kit, and you just basically wire it down, and here you got some hex screws, and then attach it to the battery as such. Okay, so now we're looking at the input side of the Cadence unit itself. A couple things to point out. One is that it has multiple input options here. You have some RCA inputs if you like, but for the stock Bose stereo system, you want to use a high-level speaker inputs. So the Cadence unit does come with this nice little connector here, and it plugs into this port right here where you can see my finger. And it's a 2-channel input. It's only a single channel output from the Bose stereo, so you only need one set, not two. But you can see there are 5 wires here, so you have, in this case I use the blue and the white ones. So you positive, negative speaker inputs. The black one is ground, which I tied to ground, and I'll show you that in a minute. And then you've got the purple and green ones, which are the other set, the second set of inputs, which you will not need. And you can see with that particular cable setup, I basically used some terminator caps and just cap those things off so they don't accidentally cross or ground somewhere and cause distortion or the unit not to work. So anyway, you've got the RCA inputs. You have the speaker inputs, the high-level speaker inputs, which I definitely recommend for the Bose unit. Down here, you'll see, get a little bit closer, you'll see you actually have 3 connections for your power. Get these cables and wires out of the way. You have your power, your 12-volt power, which came from the engine compartment I just showed you earlier. The center one is the 12-volt trigger source. So basically, if you look over here, this is where that connection ended from the 12-volt power source in the center console. Basically, bring that 12-volt power source into the center, screw it down, And basically the unit looks for a 12 volt on source. So once it receives a 12 volts, when you throw the ignition on, the whole unit will turn on. If it doesn't see the 12 volt signal anymore, the unit shuts off, which is pretty much what you want it to do. And the last one here is the pretty heavy grounding wire that came with the Bose kit, which I'll tie off, have tied off to this central ground over here, and I'll show you that in here in a second.